Hello, and June is eating. Great. Welcome to the Footnotes podcast, episode 14. We've been doing this for 14 weeks. That is a
Wow.
little over 3 months. It's great. It's been a good time. I hope the audience has been enjoying our content. Please send us feedback. We love feedback. And yeah, so let's get right into it. So June, I ask you every week, what's been going on in your week?
Mhm. And I tell you the same thing every week. I remember I went home this weekend.
Hmm.
Um, I met up with a friend from like elementary, high school. That was fun, I guess. And then I had dinner with my parents. And then talking to my parents, I think irritates me. Something about it irks me.
So just to give the audience a
Yeah.
bit of a background, June is irritable, so he might not be in the same like high spirits as he usually is when he's talking about psychedelics um, and other fun things.
Yeah.
Um, but okay, so what about your conversation with your parents made you feel irritated?
I mean, one thing is I can't express myself to the same degree that I can in English
Hmm.
when I'm speaking in Korean, especially when I'm speaking Korean to my parents, and especially because I haven't spoken Korean for a long time.
Hmm.
So that might be one thing. Um, and I also like have been for the last few meals I've been cheating.
Hmm.
Keto. So I think the carbs make me irritable. My bowels don't feel so good.
Thanks, June.
Uh, I mean, not in a weird way. Just like it's not upset. It's more like it feels different.
Are you feeling like a level of anxiety? Like your body's alert, like you can't.
I'd say more irritability.
Okay.
I'm more easily irritated.
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 Word of the day. Irritant. Irritated.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I feel that too with when I'm talking with my parents. Well, I talk with my mom in Korean and my dad in English. When I talk with my mom, like I get angry so much quicker. Um, yeah, it's weird. It's a weird feeling. Um, Hopefully, it won't be an issue as we grow up, right? I mean,
I don't know.
there's
I
no
feel
way
like it'll
my
be more of an issue.
it's gonna be yeah. Like we're both gonna regress to what's comfortable.
Yeah.
Them Korean, us English. So
Yeah. And did you know someone told me this? Uh, Again, I don't know if fact checking is 100% correct, but around this time, around this age, you will already have spent 90% of the time you'll have spent with your parents in your lifetime.
like we have spent 90% of our lifetime with our parents.
We'll have spent 90% of the time that we'll ever spend with our parents by this age.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
So
Yeah, actually, that makes a lot of sense.
yeah, it makes a lot of sense because, you know, they raise you and then like just go off, do something else.
Jeez.
That's,
Oh, that's wow. Thinking about that makes me kind of
yeah.
doesn't make me feel very great, actually. I feel like I gave my parents a lot of shit, like especially when I was like little and I was
Yeah.
a little shit, like okay, I wasn't that big of a nuisance, but still, like they took a lot. Eh? They had to tolerate a lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
And hopefully we'll be in their shoes too.
That
Hopefully.
where we have to tolerate a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think the next 40 or 50 years is going to be us tolerating a lot of things, especially going into healthcare.
What if I don't want to tolerate things anymore? What do I do? Can I go away? Can I go on vacation?
I mean, you could. There's
Yeah.
many ways to change. You can change your environment or yourself. So
I'm gonna change my environment.
okay.
uh,
You're a perfect being that cannot be changed.
I mean, this whole changing myself business, it's great and all, but I don't know. I feel as though life life is very complicated.
Mm,
I want to make things simpler.
mm.
I want to declutter people and ideas and things so that it's manageable, it's nice.
Okay,
You
let's
know?
talk about that. Like, what do you mean by declutter?
So I think one of the things that kept irritating me is like the sheer number of notifications from like different apps and things that I've been getting. It's like notification from like Google Calendar and then like emails just like throughout the day, and then it looks like the amount of emails I've been getting have been like rising exponentially with all this OMA CMA bullshit. Like any of that, but I
Yeah.
don't want to unsubscribe. Um, yeah, or like messages popping up on Messenger and me hearing the vibration on my phone and then on like the beep on my computer,
Mm.
and then like on like four different groups. Like, no,
There's just too
stop.
much going on.
Yeah, I don't want that. I want a simpler life.
Well, June, you can. You know what the ticket is?
What's the ticket?
Prioritization.
Prioritization.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah. You gotta focus on the important things, right? And I think that's going to be ever more important as we become more involved with complex um, situations like work and life. You know, things are going to get very muddled. So I was struggling with that this week too, actually. So I burnt out this week, and just in time for a midterm, which
I
kind
mean,
of sucked.
maybe that's the right word. Burnout.
But burnt out?
Yeah, maybe burnout is the more apt word than
Then
irritable.
irritated?
Yeah.
I mean, they're not mutually exclusive.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. So I was saying, just I was burnt out this week, and um, I felt like my mind was just constantly on, and it just kept bouncing from idea to idea,
Yes.
email to email, things to
Yes.
do to things to do, and
Yes.
and it was irritating me, and
Ugh.
I couldn't do anything like fully engaged. Like my mind was always somewhere else as well. So I wasn't able to really study this weekend. Um, and then after the midterm, a big stressor sort of got relieved, and all of a sudden I had fewer things on my mind, and that helped me to clearly prioritize the things that I wanted to actually focus on. And something like social life actually is going to take a toll, and like that's something I never really considered, to be honest. Like I thought I could just manage like the few friends that I have and like the social events I go to, but turns out that I can't even do those really um, at this time of my life. So I don't know. I just have to drop it. I guess it's not. There's no compromise.
Dropping things does feel very nice.
It feels nice.
Yeah.
It
Like
does feel nice.
like you're stressed about a test or a midterm or some evaluation or some commitment, and then you're like, you know what? Why am I so caught up over this? Like, fuck this. This is not worth like the amount of like thoughts it's generating and the amount of like brain energy I have to expend to deal with this bullshit. Ugh.
Someone is very irritated today.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's I'm always on a tightrope with that too. It's like at one point is it running away from your responsibilities, and at what point is it taking care of yourself, self care.
Yeah.
So always on a tightrope, trying to balance those two. But when you're in excruciating pain, then you usually just go for self-care. Like
Yeah.
there's no debate.
You know, I mean, I don't even know what that means anymore.
Self-care?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where do you go for self care?
I don't know. Like I'm always told that I should do things I enjoy and like I should sleep well, eat well. I can do those two. It doesn't always help, you know?
No.
Like oftentimes when I'm sleeping well or I'm sleeping a lot or I'm eating a lot or whatever, um, my mind is on the stuff I have to do. And like that anxious state comes with me in the things that I enjoy. So it's not like I'm ever really removed from those stressors.
Yeah. And when you're stressed, you think about more things that stress you out.
Yeah.
Your like ability to prioritize things and see clearly just like goes out the window. It's so I was at a sermon last week. I
Hmm.
went to church last week just cuz.
Yeah, you were
And
telling us.
then there was one part of the sermon, like it was an all right sermon, like the pastor was like very enthusiastic, but there's one part where he's talking about like peace, and apparently there's a painting contest in the UK to like
Okay.
describe the word peace, and the second place is like a very idyllic like pastoral scene with like a nice lake and a cottage and
Hmm.
you know what you think of peace. But then the painting that won first prize is it's like one of those like forming off the coast of like Scotland. You can like imagine giant waves like crashing up against the cliff, and then like right in the middle is like very tiny, but like there's like a bird's nest, and then
Mm.
like three little birds sleeping just peacefully, and that won the peas contest.
Oh,
So like, when like everything's going to shit, how do you stay that way?
like
How,
that peaceful bird.
how do you, yeah, stay like that?
Mm.
Maybe it's a dumb bird, but like at least it's peaceful, right?
Right.
Would I like? I would rather be stupid and ignorant and have that peace rather than be hyper aware of every single thing that's going on around me. That's another thing I've been thinking about too. Like maybe I like just know or like try to think about too much. Another
Mm.
thing that irritated me is like I go on YouTube and there's like 1,400 video suggestions from like so many different and weird sources because like I watch all kinds of shit because like I'm just you know I've been curious like that.
Yeah.
Like has it really served me to do like any like substantial things in my life?
Mm.
Probably not. Like does it ever come up in the conversations I have with like people on a day-to-day basis? No, other than if it's like you or someone else that can tolerate that kind of
Mm.
openness. I'm like, do you even need that? Do you need all that information?
I don't know. I
Yeah,
feel like okay, so this information age, I love that phrase.
yeah,
Um, that's very conducive to that, right? So there's so much stimulation that you can get.
yeah,
But when you look back in history and you look back at people who become masters of their craft and like focus on one thing,
yeah,
like they seem to be a lot better settled. Like they seem a lot more balanced and like they know what they're doing because it's just one or two things that they're really good at, right?
yeah,
Um, but like you, like I also enjoy a whole bunch of different things, and I always wonder, like, am I wasting my time and am I making my life worse by exposing myself to all these different things? Because I feel so disintegrated. Like I feel like my personality can range from so many different, like it ranges on the spectrum depending on
yeah.
the interest that I'm pursuing at the time.
Mm-hmm.
So like it's a
Yeah.
struggle. And I don't know if this is like a new issue that came with the information age or if this is something that people have been experiencing throughout history.
Mm-hmm. I almost feel like information obese or like
Mm,
or scatterbrained.
yeah.
You know, maybe, maybe things are better. You know, if things would be better if I knew less, right?
Mm,
And I don't know where I picked this up. This kind of saying has like kind of stuck with me. Like ignorance is like the most basic thing about perception,
mm,
right? So you have like world of like infinite complexity, and what allows like you to act in it is like by ignoring like 99.99% of it.
right.
So why am I trying to crank that open so much? Oh no. Maybe I should just know my place and be a little more ignorant.
Mm.
And but maybe I'll be more happy and more better functioning.
Well, my question is,
Yeah.
so I don't necessarily think that ignorance itself is bliss. I think
Yeah.
maybe certainty could be bliss, or at
So,
least it gives you stability, right? So if you know less, you're certain about more things, um, right? So I'm wondering if what the issue is, we're trying to expand our horizons and perspectives too quickly without ever being certain about the things that we're taking in, and we don't like conclude anything as we go along. We just
no.
keep taking in new information, and we're trying to integrate everything into one big schema. But every day we get something new, so it's harder and harder to make this
Yeah.
perfect picture.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if we should like take a pause and be like, okay, well, let's decide on a structure right now, given what we know, maybe cutting out extraneous things
Yeah.
and then believing in that and holding ourselves to that. And then once we get stable and secure, then we could start adding more. I almost feel like that's what young adults all go through, right? Like this is like a period of still rapid brain growth, but also a period where we're expected to kind of know what we're doing at this point, right? So it's like we're still growing, but people want us to stop and like become something.
Yeah. I mean, I agree with most of that. Like you need some kind of foundation,
Mm-hmm.
or like, you know, you need some kind of foundation. You need some kind of identity in the world. You can't be everything at once.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I am trying to be everything at once. I bought this like music making app because I'm like, oh, I can make music. How cool is that? Wow.
Right.
Or like playing basketball, working out, like also trying to like look into psychedelics, and like also trying to be really good at school, and like also trying to be really good at this, that, like you know what, I would rather be happy and a little dumb
Mm.
than constantly stressed out about like 100 different things. like 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 last week, like, okay, it's great to know that there's an epidemic and like social isolation and like there's
Mm-hmm.
a billion things wrong with the world, but like does knowing that help me address like any single one of them? Like probably not.
Mm.
You know, maybe it like stresses me out such that like I can't function as well as I would have if I was like ignorant to that.
Mm.
Yeah, so I like the idea of, I don't know, just starting where you are, not like not making life too complicated.
Mm.
Just just taking things as they come, simplifying things.
you know, this is so different than you like a few weeks back when
Yeah.
you're really excited about this new structure, like framework of thinking, and all these
Yeah.
stories with you, and feel like in a couple of weeks, like you're just gonna go
Yeah.
back, or it's gonna be a cycle. But
Yeah. I mean, I still think a lot of like what I talked about, what I said, like some of that's gonna be really important. So I'll probably
mhm,
revisit some of that and say like, all right, like of like the 10,000 things I like blurted out of my mouth. There's like those 10 things like that's pretty important. Like that's pretty important to who I am and who I want to be. But the rest of it, like you don't have to do it all at once. Yeah. You can take your time.
mhm.
You're 22 and go at your own pace a little bit.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
I watched a film this weekend that I think is really apt. So it's called Free Solo. I don't know if you have you heard of it.
No.
So it's a documentary about, his name is Alex Honnold or something. Alex Honnold,
Mm-hmm.
and he was the first person to free solo climb El Capitan, El Cap.
Yeah.
Have you heard about that? So it's like this huge rock face in Yosemite National Park, and it's
Mm-hmm.
like 3,000 feet high. And this
Jeez.
guy went in and he climbed the whole thing without a rope. It's all by himself.
Mm-hmm.
And the documentary is about that journey. And when you watch the guy, like he's sort of a strange dude. He's very like focused in this craft. Like
Yeah.
he is so engrossed by rock climbing, and he's always constantly practicing, and he's writing down like the exact steps that he needs to take to conquer each part of the climb, and he goes and he tries it, and he memorizes exactly his hand positions and how his legs move, and all of that. And it takes some, I think it was like a year and a half project of dedicated effort just to climb this one mountain, um, which is insane. And then he goes and does it, which is crazy too. One of the interesting parts of the documentary is his relationship with his girlfriend,
Mm-hmm.
and his girlfriend is like supportive, but also like super worried, right, that he's gonna fall and die.
Die. Yeah.
And like there's this conversation that they have mid documentary, and she's like, if I asked you to like not climb, would you do it? And he's like, no, like this is the only thing basically that gives me fulfillment. And she's like, she's in tears, right? Like she's
Yeah.
hurt by this, but she comes to understand this throughout the docu. But this guy is insanely focused on this one thing, and that made me think, you know, priorities. Like you could really just do one or two things and live a really good life and feel fulfilled. And this guy, he makes a lot of money just like speaking to audiences, and um, also participating in these documentaries, right? And he's able to take his passion and make it into something sustainable, um, which is crazy, but it's super inspiring. I recommend you to watch it as well. I think it's still in theaters. It's one of those like sort of low key
Mm-hmm.
films. Like you won't see it in the main stage, but yeah, definitely recommend it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean that dude just needs rocks in his life.
Yeah. I I wonder how his relationship is going to pan out, because I think he's probably thinking about the next thing he's going to do,
Mm-hmm.
the next climb, and it's going to be bigger and greater.
Paul, you spoiled it, so he didn't die.
No.
There's no suspense in it anymore.
I don't know, man. If you watch it, like your palms will get sweaty, man. Knees weak, honestly.
It was I had this thought. I
Okay.
was like, so if you're living your life, and then imagine like, it's like Shakespeare's analogy, your life is a stage.
Mm.
You're all just like actors. But imagine like there's an audience, and there's like a audience of like just really cool people who have like lived different lives.
Mm.
Like you should live your life so that like at the end of the performance, you get a standing ovation, just like beautiful, wow. Or like they're like cheering you on.
Yeah.
But I wonder what like that audience would think um, about the rock climbing guy versus like me trying to do like 10 different things and getting marginally better at like two of them.
Yeah.
It's like the rock climbing guys, that's a much more compelling story for whatever reason.
Mm.
It's unique. It's like it has something so like visceral and exciting about it.
Mm.
He's like clearly passionate and like enjoying himself. So you're just like gravitated towards that. So I think there's things that like I'm really excited about. Like I see Kawhi Leonard and like what he does in basketball. I'm like, I know I'm not like never gonna get there. Like it's really cool to like work on a craft like that.
Mm.
To like really work on something and get better at it. It's like I think I missed that from like high school. Just going to like practice violin every day after school. Like there's things like that I could do like with like basketball. And maybe the key to getting better at one thing is to let yourself fail in other things
Yeah. No, I definitely agree with that.
in some way or another.
Right.
It's like we're so scared of like failing. I mean, sometimes failure has consequences, but maybe you should be like willing to live with those consequences for like it's a trade-off.
Mm.
Like you'll get much better satisfaction and fulfillment in something else that you enjoy.
Interesting.
Like, you know, I don't know. I think we have this strange bug in our heads, right? Like we can't fail in anything. It always has to go right.
Mm.
You always have to pass. Always have to be like better than 50% of the population or 90% of the population or 99% of the population. That's just insanely pathological. You can't, you know. Well, part of this is me like, oh, I don't want to study for my clean skills exam or my heme test tomorrow. And if I don't want to, I don't have to. You know, maybe like all I do care about is like the future of psychedelic psychotherapy, and like I don't have to do any other elective in any other field because I don't give a fuck about that. Maybe, maybe that's the answer. But
Maybe it is.
yeah, maybe, but I wouldn't be um, too quick to make those leaps. Maybe I should. Well, I'll consider it. That makes me feel better. Like the possibility that I can say like, fuck you to this, fuck you to that, fuck you to that, fuck you to this responsibility, fuck you to this person, fuck you to that person. Like, you notice how I've been swearing more?
Yeah.
I think it's like I've been trying to be like too zen and like peaceful and like, oh, I should be loving and grateful towards everything in life. No, maybe not.
The real June is coming out.
Yeah, the
The real
real
June
June
has
is
teeth. Show me those teeth.
yeah, more of an edge.
Hmm. Yeah. I really like that failure idea because I never thought of it that way. I'm scared of failing in like the smallest thing. Like I'm scared of not responding to someone who's
Yeah,
expecting an answer in like a few hours. Like
yeah,
it's not a huge deal,
no,
or it might be a huge deal, but I don't have to make it a big deal.
yeah.
Um, yeah, it's fascinating. I
Mm-hmm.
I hope that I can find something worth sacrificing everything else for, I don't know why. Like I fetishize this so much, and I've been fetishizing it for like 3 or 4 years. Like I want a passion. Like I want
That
something to
one
like,
thing.
yeah, to absorb me.
Hmm.
And then I talk to people who are absorbed by things, and they're like, "Don't do it. Like, what the hell's wrong with you?" Like my dad tells me this every time. He's like, "Enjoy like everything in life. Don't be like obsessed with one thing," because that's how he got through, and that's how he made a living for himself. I'm like, that's like the only thing that seems to work. Like people who are jack of all trades, they I don't know, they have a niche market. I bet, but it's not very common.
Hmm.
Um, like you'd have to go into something like consulting or something like process based, process oriented, never content. So
Yeah. I think being really good at one thing is it'll help you with the other things too.
mm,
So like the the most popular or like the most well-known example of like a Renaissance man is Da Vinci. Like he's an artist, but he's also sculpts. He also like is a brilliant engineer, anatomist, like way
mm,
far, like hundreds of years ahead of his time. But like his paintings and like the like lifelike representations of like Mona Lisa smile and like everything was based on like his study of like human anatomy and like facial structure, like muscles, different muscles. Like he knew all about that, and like that went to each and every one of his paintings, right?
mm.
So like he really developed expertise in one domain that could then spill over to others. I don't think it was like at the beginning he was like, "Oh, I'm gonna be an engineer, and then I'm gonna be like I'm gonna do all these things at once." You know, just
Right.
find something that vaguely interests you. Just
Well,
try
like
it.
it's interesting because like we're going into medicine, and you'd
Yeah.
expect us to be interested in medicine, but also medicine is just this huge thing. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot of things in medicine that I don't care about really, that I don't really,
Yeah.
I'd rather not spend time in. Like immunology right now, god damn.
You hate it?
I think I really hate it with a passion.
Uh-huh.
Like conceptually, it's cool, but when it comes down to details, man,
Yeah. Like the like would you be able to let yourself fail in like for example some of your clerkship rotations?
mm,
Like the advice that my faculty advisor gave me was try to approach every rotation like you're going to be doing it for the rest of your life.
right.
And I can't tell if that's like really good advice or like really shitty advice. You know, oh, like yeah. Did you say something? I think you cut off for a second.
No, I was just laughing at that because
Yeah,
it's funny. Yeah, like
yeah. Like yeah, or I think the idea of like failure is like very very important to medicine too. You're not supposed to fail. You're
mm,
kind of supposed to be good at everything, and you're expected to perform well, like maybe at like greater than 70th percentile or whatever. Like everything. Is that reasonable? Does that produce like sane people? Like realistically, like you only need to be good at one or two things, and like in this economy, like that's what will get you your living, and like that's what will like help you help other people.
hmm.
I But how much of this is like avoiding responsibility? But like responsibility for what? For who?
Well, I don't know if you have this like mentality too, but like I feel like to be a healthcare professional, I have to know enough to like save someone in an emergency situation. But then like I have that mentality and like I imagine myself like if anyone says, "Is there a doctor in the house?" I could be
Yeah.
like, "Yes, it's me." Hello, I can fix it. But what if I'm a psychiatrist, like,
Yeah,
and like
like
someone's has severe internal bleeding? Like, I can't do
yeah,
shit.
yeah. It's like, oh yes, I'm a doctor, but I'm a psychiatrist. Yeah, I'm a brain doctor, but not
Neurologist.
really a brain doctor. Yeah. So I don't know. I think we'll be living out that struggle for the next however many years.
Hmm.
And I'm sure there's like people who have charted different paths through medicine and still have gotten to like a good place. Like, you know, a big part of me wants to say, fuck you. I'm gonna do things my way, see how it turns out, and I'll have no regrets because like whatever mistakes I've made, like those are my own. It wasn't because like my preceptors or my parents or like my friends, whoever told me to do this. Like maybe I can say like, you know what? Like I'm a pretty smart person and I trust my judgment and like I'm gonna try shit. And like maybe it'll be like very successful. Maybe it won't, but like maybe I'll I won't regret it because
Hmm.
maybe I won't regret it. Fuck you all. I'm gonna leave. You know.
Yeah.
If you saw that in a movie, wouldn't you cheer for that like character who
Yeah, we
says like,
always do.
who says like, fuck this all. This is bullshit. I'm just gonna do like what I love and like do really cool things like that like no one else has done before.
We all want to do that, right?
Yeah,
Deep inside.
yeah. Maybe I
I
do.
like we never hear about the failures as much, do we? Or is the failure like when people try that and then end up just becoming just another member of society and like doing a desk job for 9 to 5 and like
Right.
this is like the 80s issues, right? Like the whole hippie movement. Like
Mm.
I'd say while the hippie movement was like a success in introducing these ideas, like a lot of the people who participated had to suffer and like they have no skills, they have nothing to give, and they
Yeah.
just went through this experience and then now they're suffering without like I don't know adequate income or housing or stability like that. So
Yeah. I guess a part of the people who take that risk and say, fuck it all, I'm gonna stick it to the man and like chart
hmm
my own path. Yeah, maybe in a couple of years you follow up with them. They're like, oh, that was a mistake. I should have just like kept my head down and just, I don't know,
hmm
lived in servitude and 9 to 5 work, just make a stable living. I think that's such a sounds so boring. I don't know. Maybe I'm like young and like too my thinking is too romanticized. But there's something exciting about it. I'll give more thought to it.
hmm
Like I think I'm not the type of person to like make such radical changes that like I'll remove all stability from my life.
right. Well, wasn't wasn't the goal to have more stability by cutting out extraneous things? Like, I guess there's a bit of irony there.
The goal is not to be stable.
It's not to be stable.
The goal is to make things simpler,
Okay.
and that's maybe stability can help with that, but I think they're different.
Hmm.
Yeah, if maybe if you have few possessions and have not much money, then you can be pretty simple with your decisions. Like you eat because you need to eat. You eat like whatever you can afford, whatever you can manage to scrap together.
Mm.
You dress, you pick out the clothes you have and not have to choose. It's like today, oh, my white shirt or my black shirt? Black shirt. And then my
Move on.
jeans. Yeah. So maybe those are two goals I can set for myself. Two like vague general directions, like simplifying things and saying fuck you more to like any responsibilities or expectations that are, I don't know, that I have reason to suspect don't always help me live like a simpler and better life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Like,
So question is this one of those things?
will I say fuck you to the podcast?
Yeah, let's be a little meta here.
Oh, you cut off right there, so I thought you like
just
yeah. What were you saying?
I said let's be a bit meta in terms of how much value this podcast has added to our lives. Our lives.
Yeah. I can't really measure it.
It doesn't help, June.
But like
that's also the issue, right? Of prioritizing is you can't always measure what you're trying to prioritize.
Yeah. But like I feel good after venting or going on rants or doing what I do.
Right.
Doing what we do. So this can stay.
Oh, thanks, June.
You could say fuck you to like, what does this need to be on YouTube? Fuck you, YouTube. You're gonna, yeah. Maybe if we ever reach like a bigger audience, like half of this content might be censored. Like, oh, you're talking about drugs? Like, nope. We're deleting your channel. That's totally happened before. So,
right.
Yeah, there's a lot of things I can say fuck you to. Probably not my parents. Like I shouldn't say that to my parents. Yeah.
Well, you're not saying it to your parents. You're saying it to the situation that you create with your parents. That occurs, right?
Yeah. It's like I'm done with playing this whole like nice, obedient son boy. But I don't know. Do I know how to be anything other than that at this point? Maybe.
I felt like this is something that people go through earlier in their lives. I noticed this too. Like I feel like I'm always late to the game with regards to what like the usual developmental milestones are. Like I don't know.
You have such big brains that like,
Oh yeah.
It just takes a long time for that to kick in.
That makes total sense.
I don't know. In a lot of ways, I like consider myself a late bloomer.
Yeah, that's the word.
I'm gonna peak late. So it makes sense that I'm having this rebellious punk phase right now.
You're basically 16.
I'm basically 16.
Oh.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why we're so youthful. Wow.
Oh my god. No, I think it's just because we're Asian.
Oh yeah.
Sure. Yeah. I'll give more thought to this. I think this is a useful discussion to have.
Yeah.
I feel better now.
It's good.
Momentarily.
I think it's a good place to end off too. I mean,
yeah,
it is a shorter one, but I think we got through a lot, and
all right.
Now June is at least a little less irritated.
Yes.
We should have started the podcast by saying take a shot every time we say
Fuck you.
irritated. Oh,
Or
fuck you
irritated.
or irritated.
Yeah. Yeah.
Irritated.
Yeah. One of my goals is to swear more.
That's great.
So I'm gonna end off this podcast by saying fuck you to Paul and fuck you to our audience members.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
I'd like to fuck. No, oh no.
All right, I'm gonna end this right
All right,
now.
I ended.